Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Well, here we are.
Your weary realtors.
Weary from the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. We just have a little bit of information that we wanted to share with everyone that we've been working with and to our viewers out there. We are not going to talk much about the devastation south of us.
No.
Because everybody's seen it on TV, and there is nothing
It's significant.
to say about that.
Yes.
It's very sad.
Yes. I have friends in Punta Gorda that
Yeah.
annihilated their home.
Yeah. Friends in Fort Myers telling me it's like Beirut. She's going to fix up her house and move. So that may happen with a lot of people, and a lot of people that are watching this video that are moving to the areas that Judy and I are working in, Sarasota, not too far south, but South Sarasota as well, and North Manatee.
Yep.
We wanted to let you know how those areas fared through this devastating hurricane. And that's the last time I'm going to use this word, folks, because you're watching TV, and now we just want to give you some good news.
Yes, yes.
Because we are both safe.
Yep, our homes did okay.
And our families are safe.
Yep.
Judy has a brother and a mother-in-law up in St. Pete. They're
Tampa.
fine.
Yep.
I have family in Tampa. They're fine. My husband and I just got back from delivering a load of supplies and gas to our daughter and family down in Northport because supplies are really limited down there. And we have decided to take a few trips through some of the neighborhoods that our customers are building in and give you an update. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
So I'm going to bring you the North Manatee report like we normally do. A little different report though. So this morning I went and visited some of the most popular ones that we've been working in. And North River Ranch, both Brightwood and Riverfield. So that's the builders like Homes by West Bay, David Weekley, the Neal Townhomes, Pulte, and that neighborhood looks great. Trees are standing, homes under construction look good. There's an occasional sign down, which with a normal Florida storm might have come down. So it's looking really good, and not a lot of standing water. I was pleasantly surprised on that too. East of Eastern Parish and toward Bayaca, a friend of mine has a little farm in Parish, close to a little town called Duet. And she's got a lot of water, but her farm floods
regularly with heavy rain.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not unusual. But there are some, some areas east that are having some water issues. But the new neighborhoods have been graded properly. The retention ponds are doing their job, and it looked really good. I went to Del Webb Bayview, and that stunning entrance is still stunning. The community center, the amenity center, sorry, that's under development looks great. Tennis court fencing was up, it looks fine. Homes under construction there, I walked through one specifically that I have a customer building, and it looked really, really good. Isles at Bayview, same thing. Everybody's intact. One thing I'll say about North River Ranch that impressed me is there's a lot of Halloween decorations out already. So everybody got their hurricane stuff in the house, out of the house, and now they've started moving on toward Halloween. So that really made me chuckle because there's, 20-foot werewolves and skeletons and blown up things already out and about. So people are really trying to get back to living.
Trying to move on.
At North River Ranch at the pavilion, there were kids outside playing on the playground, and there's so people are getting back out to living. I also went by Artisan Lakes, where there's an Esplanade, Eves Bend, and an Edgestone community. And again, it looks good. I mean, it doesn't just look, hey, they made it through the storm. It looks really good intact. I looked at a couple homes under construction there, and everything's holding their own. In my neighborhood, we have many old oaks, and we lost a few oaks, but the majority of our oaks are standing. The storm did a nice job of cleaning all the Spanish moss out, so
yes, it did.
a little haircut for everybody, so that looks pretty good. But yeah, we're doing okay. We have a couple of big shopping centers under development. I drove by a couple of those yesterday and today. They look great. So parish is holding firm.
Good. So Judy, what did you expect to see? I mean, I know that where you're far north of where the eye of the hurricane hit. I was a little surprised when I went by some of the construction sites, and they're still perfectly stacked. Bricks, trusses,
Yes.
drywall stacks. Yes. I mean, we were minimally affected in terms of flying debris and, you know.
Right. I did see a few shingles distributed here and there, which I don't know if those were on a building or if those were on a pile of shingles.
Right.
Those fly really well.
Right.
I really did expect to see a lot more landscaping down. I expected to see more standing water. And I expect to see more street lights down, because a little closer to my house we did have a few traffic lights down.
We still have some going up, getting back online in Sarasota.
In the new communities that have all the new building standards, and some of the builders were great, like the individual house signs that says, you know, Judy and I bought this house and this is what's being built. They had taken those and moved those inside. And they did some nice precautionary things to preserve those homes, but I really didn't see. I thought I'd see a little bit more wind damage, because we had some wind. Boy.
We did. 75 miles an hour where I was. But we'll get to our own experiences here in a minute, because everybody in different places experience different things. I went, first of all, I contacted most all the people that are our customers that are building with us, trying to get through text messages, and I contacted salespeople. So we know that in general, the communities that we're selling in have survived well.
Yep. I also heard from Meritage in Summerwoods, and they've sent me pictures of my customer's house under construction. So,
good.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay. All right. Out in Lakewood Ranch, I took a drive through Park East, and that looks good. I took a drive through Crestwind, and here again, there wasn't a lot of damage. There certainly isn't damage to the newer homes that are completely built.
Right.
You know, in certain areas, there are older homes, older landscaping, older trees. That's who really got hit hard.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to buy a new home. I'm telling you. So I'm also going down to Beach Walk tomorrow, and I will have, I've already talked to the sales reps down there, and they said they have some standing water, and you mentioned landscaping. Their landscaping was hit pretty hard. They're going to be replacing a lot of landscaping. They have a little standing water, but all of the houses fared very well. Sky Ranch. Shingles, some missing shingles, a little standing water, but the reps are telling me that all of the homes fared well.
Good.
So that's my question to all of the customers that we have is, how did you fare through the storm? Even people that we've sold to before, long before now, because that's always their biggest fear is what happens when we have a hurricane. So Judy and I want to tell you what happened to us when we had a hurricane. Judy, Judy just came back from a cruise, and here's what she was faced with.
Yeah, so we actually got to our home about 9 p.m. Monday night from Spain. And my first trip to Europe, very memorable in many ways. And I had caught a cold. So I'm sick and tired. Oh no, I was a little worn out. And so all day Tuesday we spent bringing all the lanai stuff in and all the plants. I have 20 orchid plants, and I have a lot of potted plants. So we did a lot of heavy lifting on Tuesday, And then Wednesday we kind of hunkered down. The storm started a little earlier in the morning as far as the high winds at my house than I expected. We thought we had a little more time. I was going to run soup to a couple of neighbors that I made the night before, and there was no going outside running soup to the neighbors. So we had power through the storm till about 6 p.m. and then we lost power. And then it came on at 2 a.m. and then it went back out by 3:34 a.m.
Isn't that a disappointing thing to happen?
It wakes you up and then you're like,
yay!
So my two neighbors to each side, my neighbors each had generators, and so the one neighbor took a big cord and ran neighbors on the corner so we could have our refrigerated foods maintained through Thursday, I guess Thursday. And then my neighbor directly next to me, we got a cord. So the two generators powered 4 refrigerators.
Wow.
And a couple air conditioners and fans. So that was pretty cool.
Isn't it cool how the neighbors come together?
Oh, our neighborhood's great. Yep. People check in on each other and who's got what food and different things like that. I know one of our neighbors has refrigerated medicine. Another neighbor has a generator. They always make sure that they keep the person's stuff cold. We have a great neighborhood. So our power finally came on about 5 or 6 p.m. the following day, and it was really funny is that our neighbor's generator was working so well that we all knew the lights came on, and they're like, "What do you mean the power's on?" So they totally missed it, which was kind of funny.
And isn't it nice? When that generator goes off.
Yeah,
you'd love to hear the noise because it's giving you some power.
I kept thinking everybody was cutting their lawns because you hear all these little motors, and I'm like, no, everybody's not cutting the lawn. But so we lost some screens from our lanai. We have a one-story home, but we have a fairly tall lanai over our pool. What they call a bird cage, so it's like built farther out. And so we lost 3 screens there. And our air conditioner took a hit. So I don't know if it just happened to be coincidentally dying when the storm hit, or they do tell you to shut those breakers off, which we didn't do. And we might have had a power surge.
I didn't do that either.
And we think it fried our AC.
Oh, so that's a good tip, people.
Yeah. And by the grace of God, we had a great service company come out. Not our normal service company, because our normal service company is down south. Headquartered down south, and they don't have phones. So this fantastic company came out, checked it out, gave us the bad news. But then somebody else already came out yesterday, and we worked on configuring a new system that we'll have by the end of next week. So it's a little inconvenient not to have air. We're having a somewhat pleasant week. Another neighbor has lent me some window units and fans, so we'll be fine. My hair will not look good for a week. But so the lanai's missing a few panels. That's getting replaced midweek too, because I have really great vendors that I've worked with for years, and I've referred them, and when I call, they pitch in and help me, so it's very nice. I have rescued butterflies, dragonflies, and bees from my lanai, and yesterday I rescued a bird from my cat. It was harrowing. That's Wally, AC guy, was there configuring our system. So he, my husband, and I are all chasing the cat before the cat got to the bird. Well, the cat almost got to the bird. So as I'm rescuing the bird, AC guy that was new to our family, but now he's part of it, was helping us catch the cat to make sure. It was a mess. But we freed the bird flew away. And a lot of Spanish moss and branches down around my neighborhood. But not bad at all. So that's what happened there. It's fun. Got a couple more days of chasing things out of my lanai.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, we had a few ornamentals go down that we just propped back up yesterday, and everything's good.
Good.
A couple big hibiscus.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, our situation was a little more complicated because we live on a small island. It's not out in the middle of the water. It's created by canals. So we're just, if you're on one side of the storm, if you're on the north side of the storm, the storm surge is not going to affect you. But if you're on the south side of the storm, then you are going to be very careful about the storm surge. But we were still in an evacuation zone that was at the top of the list. So my daughter and my husband and I battened down the hatches. We put up our shutters. Do you have shutters?
No, but I do have some hurricane-proof windows. Hurricane-proof.
Oh, okay, that's even better. We put the shutters up, and then we came in about 5 miles inland to a friend's house to watch the hurricane through her lanai sliding glass doors. Just because the wind was coming in a certain direction, we could sit there and watch the water move in this pond and all of the wind coming. So that was somewhat entertaining until the power went out about 2:30 on Wednesday afternoon. We stayed there until the next day, Thursday midday. We packed back up and went back to our house, and fortunately nobody in our neighborhood had very much damage. If you drive down our street right now, however, you will see mountains of debris because it's a very well-treed
that's
island.
Yeah.
A couple of close calls with big trees. It's an older neighborhood with big trees coming down and just missing homes. Historically, we have gone 10 days without power. That was after Irma. But it's because we're such a small little community that we're last on the list. You know, it depends on who's on that line.
Right.
And how many homes, and if it's a big area, they're gonna go there first. But we got power within 3 days.
That's good. That's great.
And I was watching the linemen because my neighbor's tree that fell on the lines was one of the biggest problems in our neighborhood.
Can't get that done.
So the linemen were up there most of the day, and finally when they had a break, I walked over and yelled, "Hello! Can you tell me when we'll have power?" And he says, "I can tell you this. All the lines are up." And I said, "That sounds really good. Thank you so much." And we're all thanking our linemen because there's so many here from everywhere.
Ohio, South Carolina, Texas. I mean, a friend of mine did a video prior to the storm, and she was driving around Bradenton and Palmetto, and she counted like 45 disaster recovery vehicles heading into the storm to stage to be ready for this.
Right.
And that wasn't just electrical trucks. That was all kinds of different things. But the disaster response people that are responsible for our state really had a lot of things lined up and did a good job. So.
And people were just so cooperative for the most part. Neighbors came together, and I think it was ironic. I sent out my monthly card on the 1st, and it was Good Neighbor Day on October 1st. I was like, oh, I guess that's appropriate. So, because everybody appreciates the good attitudes that come from a common problem. Everybody coming together and trying to.
Our neighborhood Facebook site, people were posting, because there's little pieces of soffit or a little downspout, and it's like, "Hey, I got a couple pieces of black soffit. Whose are these?" And I mean, it was really funny. And somebody else said, "I'm looking for this." It was hilarious, but
that is pretty
everybody
funny.
was kind of pitching in.
That's pretty funny.
And my one neighbor came down our street, and she's like, "Why doesn't your street look like you had the same storm we all did?" I'm like, "Because the other neighbor already blew off the whole street for the whole everybody."
Well, not only that, but the tornadoes cut through. A tornado evidently cut through a neighbor down the street from us and took out a big tree and some of his tile on his roof. So that all depends.
Right.
Those tornadoes touch down and move around a lot. So
I have a neighbor, Mark, that just likes his leaf blower, and he took care of it for us.
Well,
yeah.
We did move towards Northport today, and we went straight down 41 while we were taking the supplies to our family down there. And it was obvious that the further south you went, the more damage there was.
Yeah.
Welland Park looked fine.
Good.
Oasis looked good. There were several people down there that I contacted as I drove through thinking, "Oh, Daniel lives there. Oh, Barbara lives there." And so everybody's fine. We're just really, really grateful
very fortunate.
that we live where we live.
Yeah.
So if you've got questions and you still have some hesitation about the Gulf Coast of Florida. We understand that.
Yep.
But we're just so lucky we've never been directly hit.
It's the Crystal Sands. It's the Crystal Sands. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I wanted to throw some kudos out. In addition to the linemen, FPL, Peace River,
good neighbors.
Yeah, all those other things. Some really great things have happened here, even with people in great need. There's an organization called World Central Kitchen. If you're a Food Network junkie like me, you hear a lot of the chefs say, oh, I'm playing for this in some contest. I'm playing for World Central Kitchen. They step in when terrible things happen in places all over the world, and they're on the ground here. They're already managing another hurricane in Puerto Rico and some other things they're doing. But World Central Kitchen, in the first 2 days of after the storm, handed out 14,000 sandwiches and 45,000 hot meals. One of our local restaurateurs, Michael's on East, was part of that. I think they said they prepped 2,000 meals. Metropolitan Ministries in Tampa, who does a lot of food support, they're also partnering and helping World Central Kitchen. So, and I know there's other restaurant partners here and other catering partners that are doing that. But if there's something you want to donate to, that might be a suggestion. And then FloridaDisasterFund.org is a private nonprofit. I don't know how to explain that. It's not a public entity, but they are bringing together huge donations from companies like Publix, grocery stores, Wawa, Walmart, a long list. Tom Brady has donated. Tom Brady promoted them on his website to say, hey, here's a good place. But what they're doing is they work hand in hand with a lot of the agencies, and they know where the gaps are.
Right.
And they know what needs to be filled, and they've got enough clout and organization to get things done, rather than say, okay, I want to donate old clothes, or I want to donate a case of water. Donating money to this organization, they can be much more efficient with those funds. That's what they need. And even though Publix and Walmart are announcing multiple $1 million donations, they're also saying that $5 here, $10 there will go very, very far. So FloridaDisasterFund.org is a very good vetted organization, among others. But it was just one of those things that I thought I was really impressed with. I read about. Locally, Dakin Dairy is a farmer in Mayaka. They put out today that they've lost 200 cows. They have a lot of damage. A lot's going on out there, but they also posted today that if anybody needs a meal out there, because so many Mayaka residents are flooded and so many Mayaka residents are farmers, etc., they're out there feeding people already today. In the midst of cleaning up and dealing with their own loss, they're stepping up and making sure people are eating. So it's those are things I just wanted to mention, that I was very impressed with these organizations, and they've hit the ground running and they're ready, and they're making sure people are getting hot meals. I mean, it's terrible to be soggy and wet and tired and exhausted and stressed.
And you have a granola bar.
Yeah, so it's been very impressive.
I know that you probably have seen lots of lists on tips, but what were some of the tips that personally, that you did, Judy?
Have my freezer fairly full. I got a bag of ice and put it in the freezer, because they say a full freezer will stay frozen longer. Bottled water. What else do we do? Key documents put in plastic bags. Make sure they're safe from any kind of water. Some people say put them in like your dryer, in a washer tub or dryer tub.
We put ours in the wall safe. We figured if anything was going to be safe, that would be good.
Yeah, if you don't have a wall safe.
But if you don't, yes, put them in a plastic bag. Take a video.
Yes.
Of the inside and the outside of your home, in case you have any kind of a claim that you need to file with your insurance company.
Definitely.
Insurance. We're not going to even talk about insurance right now.
No.
Anyway, other tips.
Laundry. Make sure you have enough clean underwear. And
some laundry.
Fresh linens on your bed. Like, we had traveled, and I'm like, ugh. But I made sure I did laundry that night, because you don't know, you might not be doing laundry for 2 weeks.
For a week, right.
Luckily we're back. But we also are trying to conserve water right now in our areas. So even though a lot of us are functional, there's still some areas they want you to be careful with your water usage. So we're not the time to do all your comforters.
So yeah, stock up on the hurricane supplies, batteries. And
Your
you should,
rechargeables.
yes, your rechargeable batteries for your phones, for all of your devices, keep those charged up. Now, when we had a generator, oh, I forgot to mention that. I had bought a generator Monday morning.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't a whole house generator,
Right.
but it was big enough to run the refrigerator and a light at night, and plug in the coffee pot in the morning. Oh my gosh, I was delivering coffee to my neighbors all 3 mornings that we've been out of power, and boy, I got lots of points for that.
I MacGyvered, don't even ask how I did it, but I MacGyvered boiling water, and then I bought a French press for my hurricane thing, so I French pressed coffee.
Right, there you go.
It's amazing what you can do to make water boil. What else did we do? I was just thinking, your rechargeables. Oh, so Harbor Freight, if you ever have a Harbor Freight store, they have these little lanterns. They're black, they're about this big, and they're like $3, $5, depending on the sale. Those came in so handy. We use those a lot this time, because I've used other lights in the past. But rather than having to have a big Coleman camping lantern that uses 8 D-cell batteries, this uses 2 AA's or something like that, and it was great, 2 or 3. But those were really handy, because they're light, they're easy to take around.
Right.
So that was cool. And just be patient. Like, don't go on the roads right away afterwards.
No, because the street lights aren't working.
Yeah, and there's roads that are flooded, and you might be getting in the way of somebody who needs to be on the road, like an emergency vehicle. So yeah, just stay put. Everybody wants to go out and see, but stay put.
No, it's best to stay home as long as you can.
Yep. And we bought fruits and vegetables that wouldn't be bad if they weren't refrigerated, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we had some fresh food. I did make it to the grocery store Monday night at 9, but dropped off the luggage and ran to the last hour of Publix and got some food.
I did the same thing you did.
Yep.
Made a big pot of soup, share, and cooked ahead a little bit.
Yep.
So
they do say to cook the food and freeze it, and that way it's going to keep a little longer than if you try to keep fresh ground beef or something.
Right.
That's cool.
And Judy made a good point on a Facebook post that she did. Scammers.
Oh, stupid people. Yeah, so this is the time that the scammers crawl out of the depths of below the earth. Yeah, watch the scammers. If a deposit they want more upfront than seems reasonable, don't do it. If you can't check references, don't do it. Do the same due diligence you would 3 weeks before the storm.
People plan.
Look for references.
People plan to take advantage. There was a setup from a big truck on the side of the road on 41 when I was going down to Venice, and they're selling chainsaws. Now, I don't know how much they were selling them for, but I can guarantee you they were selling them for a profit, or they wouldn't be there out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah. And check licenses. I mean, look for expired licenses, valid licenses. Sunbiz.org is back up, and it's a Florida business that's going to be registered. So take the time to do that, because the horror stories and you don't want to be taken advantage of. You want the job done well.
Right.
But yeah, look for licensed contractors. Get referrals. I mean, there's still a lot of people who know a lot of people that can help you out.
I have another tip.
Okay.
When we were trying to stay in touch with Tabby down in Northport, none of our texts were going through, none of our phone calls were going through, but her sister in Greensboro, she's just one of these people that doesn't give up, and she found her. She found her on a Facebook page.
Yep.
Found out information about her neighborhood, and then was able to relay messages to us. So, you know, even if you may not have direct contact with somebody, there's always a way.
Yeah, social media was
that was a big help.
conduit. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and like in some neighborhoods here, one neighborhood in Parrish had power, but they didn't have internet for several days.
Right.
We didn't have either for a day, but we came back fast. So a lot of people are like, you know, be prepared not to rely on those things.
Right.
And you know, the old-fashioned. I had an old-fashioned. I have a crank. It's been in my hurricane kit for 15 years. It's a crank weather radio. It's also AM/FM. It also runs on batteries. But I was able to keep up what was going on the other day on the storm with my little weather radio. Our local news station, one of the Tampa news stations, was broadcasting on multiple stations, and we knew that ahead of time from the TV broadcast. And when that went out, we could keep up with what was happening.
Right.
So it sounds really boring and basic, and if you're under 30, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's a little crank weather radio, and it It came through. It did a great job.
Well, we could go on,
Yeah.
but we're gonna stop
Yeah.
right now because we're tired. We're wound up, but we're really exhausted.
Yeah.
Because all of the stress
Yep. Yep.
and
we're trying
moving around
Yeah.
and oh my gosh.
We're gonna get to see all the homes that we work with under
Yeah.
construction. We're trying, but yeah,
We'll be in touch. Until the next time, bye-bye.
stay safe.